Tyler Jackson of PlaySheetSports.com here, and I'm joined by Carson Treadway of the Oak Hill Red Devils. Carson, you played some receiver last year, playing a little bit of linebacker this year. Yeah, so take me through the positions that you plan on playing this year.
Yeah, so I'll be back at playing receiver just like last year. But I'm gonna be making a change from safety to outside linebacker.
What's that change been like for you? Because I know there are some roles where it's like, okay, like safety, I still have to fill roll down and fit the run a little bit. Probably a little bit different of approach for linebacker. So how did this change come about, and what's it been like for you?
It's been a little tough, because safety I was just so used to just backing up and being able to see the whole field. But now I have to. It's a complicated position. Like I'm dropping down, I have to press, I have to drop back. Like I'm blitzing. Like it's just a lot. It's a lot different than safety.
What do you think has been something that's kind of helped you learn it and pick it up?
Coach Marion, he really knows a lot about the position. So yeah, he helped me a lot. He really broke it down for me. We've walked through it many times, and I'm getting there.
Take me through the benefits of having a guy like that because you didn't get to see him, but I came into Concord right as his career was ending, and he was a dude at safety. It was a hard hitter. I don't know if anybody's told you the stories, but that guy was a legit All American player. And the defense has been really good since he's been here. What makes him such a good defensive minded coach?
I think it's just where he played defense at Concord, and he actually a lot of the coaching he gets is from other players that he's played with, like the outside linebacker position. He talks about. I can't remember his name,
Jake
but
Lilly.
yeah, probably he
Yeah,
said he was an
yeah.
All American, like he was a first team uh, All Conference player, and he talked about how many interceptions he had, how he played the position, how they were taught, and he's just bringing it down to me.
Yeah, dude. That's another one. If you had a chance to see Jake Lilly, that's probably one of the baddest college linebackers I've ever seen. He was a dude. Um, I kind of want to move on to last year. Obviously, a super exciting year. You guys went 10-2. You hosted the playoff game. You won a playoff game. Just talk about, do you feel like that excitement's really rolled over into this training camp?
Oh yeah, it really has. We have a lot of high expectations. People expect us to get better every single year. Started off like 2 years ago, went 8-2, lost first round. The next year, 10-2, won a playoff game. So this year, it's just hoping to get better.
So when he first came here, prior to that 8-2 season, did you guys kind of expect this immediate turnaround? What was it like in the locker room? Because I know young guy comes in exciting. He's not that old, but you guys had. I'm sure you'd heard what he had done at Mount Hope as a player.
Hmm.
But what was kind of like the pulse of the locker room at that point?
There was a lot of hype for him coming in. I was in middle school. I never got the experience the coach before, but I always watched. I was here at all the games. But for a new coach, it was kind of scary at times. But he had a reputation, so
Gotcha. Now, one thing he talked about is offensively. I think he only scored 30 points or so three times over the last 2 years. Has that been something that's kind of been more of a point of emphasis? What you're doing is obviously a winning formula, but sometimes you're going to get into those shootouts. Like you got into that Hoover game last year and probably realized early, like, hey, like we're going to need to find a way to put up some more points. Do you feel like there's been an approach to offense to maybe okay, let's find ways to get a little bit more explosive?
yeah, there's always improvements. Like our defense is good, can be better. Our offense, it's we're working on it. That's one of the things we are planning to work on this season is how much points we put up on the board because the last few years have not been good enough.
Absolutely. Now you guys are playing up in Quad A this year. There's nothing that can really be done about it. Coach Marion's like, we accept that challenge. We're going to take to it. We imagine that will probably always be Quad A regardless, and that obviously it takes a lot of strength. You got to be big. You got to be ready to go toe to toe with those guys at the schools that have 1,500, almost 2,000 kids. What's been that approach for you? Has it been any different trying to get ready for Quad A teams as opposed to Triple A?
Oh, without a doubt, the training intensities went up. You've got to work harder. I mean, you're playing better teams, better players. Just everyone's bigger and better in quad A football. It's a lot different from AAA, I think, because you're just playing against more people. Like these schools have way more kids. Because last year we're playing AA schools, they don't have that many people. They're not that good. But quad A, they have so many kids. There's bound to be good players, good athletes.
Absolutely. You said you did a little bit of track too. Do you feel like there's a lot of translation between track and football? And if
Oh,
so, what is it?
yeah, I'm a firm believer. Like if you run track, it's going to help you with your football game. Speed. I was a 400 runner, and then I was a high jumper, so it helped a lot with my athleticism. Because if you're just working out during the off season, you're going to come out here and we're going to start hitting these conditioning tests, and you're not going to be doing good. But if you run track, lift, and doing all that, you'll be best shape of your life.
He'll be breaking in a new quarterback this year. What are your impressions of him? Coach Marion was telling me that he bulked up. He added probably about 10, 15 pounds of muscle this offseason. So he's been working hard. I know you kind of had a different quarterback each of the
Mm.
last 2 years. What would have been your initial impressions of Luke, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a great guy. Last year he played a little bit of outside linebacker, and there was talks of him playing quarterback next year. Every so often you see him throw a ball in practice, and we'd be like, that might be our quarterback next year. But he's really put in the work, like all off season. Me and him are going to the field, us and the receiving core getting on the field every other day during the week, and just really getting that timing and getting that connection going.
Flipping back to the defensive side of the ball, is there ever a point, and what was that point if so, that you're like, man, we really take pride in playing defense because defense is hard. But you guys, I thought that was your calling card last year. It was just how well you guys were able to scheme and game plan for different teams. Like I talked about it, the first year against Princeton. I think he was the only coach I'd ever seen that held Dom Collins to under 30 yards receiving that first time you played him over there. He just seems to have a really good game plan. Knows how to neutralize star players or limit their impact. What do you feel like it is about this defensive staff that they're able to concoct and put together something that works really well?
So defense is a hard sport to learn, or like a hard position to learn altogether. So there's a lot of walking through things. Like you can't just go through it. Like we walk through it. He gets on the whiteboard, writes stuff out. Like we have to really understand. And he preaches that we ask questions if we don't know, sit there and talk about it. So even if I do something right, I make sure I ask questions. Make sure if I did it like perfect. We just want to be perfect in every aspect of defense.
Now, do you feel like that's a sentiment that your teammates share, that they have that level of comfort? Where, because yeah, we've all been in school. We all hear a teacher. They're like, "Raise your hand if you have any questions," and nobody asks a question. Do you feel like his approach is just like that good that the kids are like, "Hey, like yeah, we feel that we want to ask these questions," because again, it can be a really hard thing for kids to want to do that.
Yeah, it's a lot different in the classroom, I think, because everyone on the field when we're playing defense, like everyone wants to know, like everyone's a big fan of our defense. Like everyone loves to play it, so everyone wants to ask questions, make sure it's the best we can possibly be.
Gotcha, absolutely. And you guys, again, you have a beautiful turf field out here. Last year was your first year playing on it. Previously, you had a field that when it rained, it would get pretty rough. The year before that, I remember you guys played Bluefield, and it
Mm-hmm.
was it was a mess. You guys shut them out, but there was like a foot of puddle of water, standing water on the sidelines. But, what do you feel like have been the benefits of this turf? You talked about a little bit about it, but on a hot day like this, it can be a little bit much. But
Mm-hmm.
outside of that, it can be really
Oh
nice.
yeah. Uh, so before we had the turf field, we used to practice over on the grass soccer field, and it was uneven. We had a lot of people getting banged up and injured after practices because of it. But now we just have a lot more room to practice, and everything's a lot more just like fluent because it's more organized. We're not just throwing on a soccer field. We have lines, and we can just get on it whenever, really.
Absolutely. Well, Carson, I appreciate you taking the time to talk with me today and looking forward to seeing you guys this year. You open up against Nicholas County this season. Should be a lot of fun seeing you guys work through double A and a third year of Coach Marion's reign, seeing how far you guys can take this and building off last year's success. So thank you.
All right. Yep. Yes, sir. Thank you.
No problem.